Hi, Mahika Didi. Oh my gosh, it's been forever since I've seen you. How have you been?
Yeah, how are you, Gayatri?
I'm good. I'm good as well. So this is my friend Mahika Didi. I've known her since I think maybe when I was in like fourth or fifth grade. You used to be
Yeah,
my tutor and my sister, my friend Malia as well. And she will be our guest speaker for Osmosis today. And Mahika, if you want to talk more about yourself, you're welcome to.
so I just graduated from Cornell University with a Bachelor's of Science and Masters in Engineering in Mechanical Engineering, with a focus on dynamics, robotics, and control. I completed my degree, my both my degrees in 3.5 years. I took one semester off to do an internship at Tesla as a mechanical design engineer, and then my second internship was at Tesla as a battery design engineer. I am currently working at SpaceX as an automation and controls engineer on the Starship program, which is the rocket that is hopefully going to go to Mars. I'm an Indian classical dancer. I've been doing that for 7 to 8, or sorry, no, like 14 to 15 years now. Um, and yeah, I led my dance team in college. And in college, I was also involved in Hyperloop, which is like idea proposed by Elon Musk, most likely infeasible, but lots of people are working on it. And it's like a magnetic transportation form where you have this pod that's magnetically repelled and levitated through a tube, and like hopefully that moves faster than like trains and stuff, and you can get places faster. And I worked on that during college.
Awesome, awesome. I love that so much. And whoa, you did so many cool things in college. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for introducing us and for being here today.
It's so nice to meet you, Mahika. My name is Avani, and let me just tell you a little bit about Osmosis. Osmosis is an initiative that inspires students to engage in STEM activities by learning about research and the STEM journeys of wonderful people like yourself who want to give back to the community.
Amazing. So you guys are all in high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so without further ado, I would love it if everyone can just introduce yourself, starting with Gayatri.
Sure. So my name is Gayatri Nair. I just moved to Tennessee from New Jersey. I'm a junior in high school, which is crazy to say. Oh my God, upperclassman already. I'm the chapter leader for Tennessee for Osmos, and my hobbies in my spare time, I love to hang out with friends, do poetry, watch TV. I also love to do different types of research projects like just for fun or about different topics that I'm interested in. I started host stuff for my school, so that was pretty cool experience that I got to do as well. And apart from that, I love to do violin as well and just chill.
And hello, everyone. Hi, Mahika. It's so nice to finally meet you. My name is Bhumika, and I am the co-founder and executive director of Osmosis. I'm also a rising junior like Gayatri and Avani, and I'm based in Virginia. And yeah, so in my free time, I love to read books, watch movies and TV shows, as well as go to the beach and travel. So yeah, I'm very excited to get to know more about you and your journey and experiences. So thank you so much for being here.
Sure.
Yeah, and hi, I'm Avani. I'm very excited to meet you and learn new things from you. I'm a rising junior, like Gayatri and Bhumika, and I'm also the co-founder and executive director of Osmosis. In my free time, I like to spend time with family, go outside on walks, and watch a lot of movies. So thank you. Yeah, so I guess we can start the interview if everyone's good with that. So, Gayatri, do you want to start us off with the first question?
Sure. This is a very basic question, but I thought I would ask because I am like, oh my gosh, super big procrastinator and I need your tips. How do you balance school, work, dance, extracurriculars, clubs, all of that jazz?
Um, I would say that I'm not like the best person to ask about time management. I myself am, I would say that's like probably one of the things that I'm weakest in my life. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing with having to balance everything is first knowing how much capacity you have to pursue as many things as you want. I mean, I think one of the biggest mistakes I've made during college or during high school is like, you're trying to do too much. It's because you're excited about all these different things, you want to do all these different things, but you have to understand that you're just one person and you can only sign up to do so many things before it's not even the fact that like you'll like not be able to do them. It's the fact that you're probably just not going to accomplish as much as you'd hoped if you sign up for six things and try to do all six things than if you just sign up for two things and accomplish a lot in just one thing. So that's one thing I tell a lot of students to not do what I did and sign up for like a million things and only accomplish like 50% of what you wanted out of it, when really you could have accomplished like 90 to 95% of your goals if you literally just stick to like 2 or 3 things that are important to you. Other than that, managing your tasks, holding yourself accountable, to-do lists, all that stuff. But I think the main thing is that if you're finding yourself procrastinating or running short of time a lot, you're probably doing too many things.
Thank you for that response. That actually like really rings true to me as well because in my freshman year I would like overcommit myself and like sign up for too many things. But like you said, I wasn't getting much done because I was like stretching myself too thin, you know? So I will definitely try to keep that in mind for college as well. Cause like there's so many cool teams out there. I'm like, I want to do everything, you know, but I can't.
It's a
So
difficult place to be in.
but thank you so much. I will definitely keep that in my head and heart.
Yeah, thank you. I will definitely also try to implement that because I know junior year's the hardest year and we want to do everything. But as you said, it's better to make, a bigger impact in like a few areas rather than do everything. So thank you for that.
From experience, so like really like just like take my experience and don't do exactly what I did, which is like overcommit to things.
Yeah, that's a very valuable piece of information. So thank you. So I had a question. So I know that in STEM, there's a lot of problems and unexpected situations that can pop up. And so I was wondering if you can talk about some of your experiences with like, having some unexpected things happen in STEM, and then how did you problem solve and, deal with those difficult situations?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to talk about without a specific example, so I'm trying to think like, I don't know. I think like mainly like there are going to be unexpected problems in your line of work, and that's fine. It's going to be like, oh, like you have a design that you have to do and you don't know exactly how you're going to do it. And like you're going to face those problems all the time. Those are the smaller problems. I feel like is like figuring out how to do something, because at the end of the day it's like to solve an engineering problem or solve whatever like STEM related problem that you have, you look at your textbooks, you ask your friends, you ask your professors. Eventually, like, I mean, there's a solution for everything, right? Like, you can, if you have an idea, you probably can find a way to make it work. The only things that are ever going to be limiting you with like an engineering or medicine solution or something is going to be like cost or time. So either a design is too expensive or would take too much time. Obviously, there's like physical limits of our world. I'm not talking about those, but I mean, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenges in any like engineering or, like STEM discipline is kind of when you're working in a team, it does in fact end up being like how you communicate with your team members and how you work together to accomplish a common goal. I mean, most of my problems that have like extended beyond just myself have been just like, I am working on this design, but I need this other design to make my design work. But hey, when are you going to finish that design? No, I need more time. I'm like, I don't have that time. I need to test my design now. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing for accomplishing those kind of problems is like, laying out your milestones, like I said, really having really good communication with people. And I think the biggest thing that I say, this is like engineering specific, but I'm sure it applies to medicine too, is that if you're waiting on someone to do something and you need that for your own work, learn as much as you can about their problem and what they're trying to solve and the design that they're trying to make. Because at the end of the day, you can't hurry them along without understanding why they're being slowed down. You can't just be like, design this right now and then expect it to happen, right? But if you understand their problem, understand the engineering that they're doing, then you can, one, offer to research and help them, to at least understand the problem so you can set more reasonable timelines. I mean, in college, I did mechanical engineering, but I was often like working with the electrical team. And then it's like, I can't just like ask them, hey, like do this. You have to be able to like talk to them and be like, I don't understand like what is like the issue or what's slowing you guys down. How can I help? What can I do? And then hopefully through that, you can find some kind of solution.
Do you have any recommendations or like communication skills in your experience that have really helped you?
I find it efficient to be direct, agendas and stuff, and like knowing what you want to ask from people before you ask something and doing your research beforehand, not just like running into a conversation without doing your prior thinking and researching first. Like I often before meetings with like people that I work with or whatever, I have like sticky notes upon sticky notes of like questions or topics of discussion that I'm trying to go through. And my personal like I hate it when like people in general just like come up to me and they don't really like have an agenda. Like I love that you guys are prepared with questions. Like that's great. My personal pet peeve is like I get on the phone and someone's just kind of like, so like what, like they're very like they don't have any questions or they don't really know what they want from me. And I really hate it because that's like a waste of their time and a waste of my time. So I think the main thing is just like having an agenda, being super direct. Yeah. I think main thing and just like build your confidence. I mean, confidence comes with experience, and when you're more confident, you communicate more effectively. So definitely that as well.
Yes, I'm very curious to ask you if you have a specific scientific idea or innovation that you're passionate about sharing to the world and why. That's my question.
Honestly, honestly, I don't. I've just been like working at my job and kind of just getting through that right now. I mean, in college, I was really, really passionate about Hyperloop, which isn't my idea, it's Elon Musk's. But I was really passionate about working on that. I worked a lot on like dynamic modeling of like induction machines and developing like control algorithms for those. Most of what I did, I'm sure it's a solved problem for people that have PhDs, but for me, it was like a very difficult topic because I'm obviously not a PhD candidate. So I spent a lot of time doing that kind of research. I also did a lot of like robotics control stuff. But as of now, I'm still waiting for my own personal big idea.
Ah, that's very interesting though. It's great to hear that you're like very, inspired by other types of topics and innovations. So that's very interesting. Thank you.
Little question. Also, again, it's kind of a basic question, but I really just wanted to know what is life at Cornell like in the programs you're involved in? Like, what do you say a typical day for you was back in college? I know it's kind of a broad question, though.
Yeah, I can definitely answer that. I miss Cornell so much. I will say that. Cornell is a great university to go to. My favorite thing about Cornell is that I think that there are like two types of colleges. There's one type, or at least for STEM, right? There's like one type of college that's very, very STEM focused, very like aggressive. Like most students there will only be pursuing like a STEM focused things and doing STEM with their free time. But there's a different kind of school, and that's a school that works better for me specifically, and for most of my friends who did go to Cornell. And that's the kind of school that's like a little bit more on like the interdisciplinary side. So it's like everybody I met at Cornell, even though they were a STEM student, they had something that they were doing with their free time that wasn't STEM related. And it kind of kept all of us sane. So I had friends that were like music composers or like actresses or like artists or like really into cross country or like like they would just like run like 15 miles every weekend. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. But like stuff like that. I mean, I personally I'm very passionate about dance. I'm a choreographer, and it's doing those things on the side and Cornell giving you the opportunity to do that. I mean, for the first 3 years of my college experience, I pursued a creative writing minor. I had to drop that to finish my master's in the time frame that I wanted. But if I hadn't done the master's, I would have finished the creative writing program. And I mean, that was amazing. I mean, getting to take all these courses and pursue all these things that just like weren't engineering related really, one, helped me pursue engineering with like more passion because I got like a break from it, then I could go right back to it. And then it's also like it kind of expands your worldview into like what else you could do. And I really love that about Cornell. I mean, it's a fantastic place to like live and learn. Typical day in college is, I don't know, you get up, hopefully go to your lectures, hopefully stay awake through your lectures. And honestly, I just like spent all my time like either studying or in the dance studio. So it's like they have like really great common areas that you can study in. So pretty much that's it. They're like great places to hang out with your friends. It's I guess like if we're talking about Cornell specifically, it's like one of those places that's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So you're really, really forced to make friends because there's literally nothing else to do there. So there's like one bar and there's like one or two like rest like okay fine like 5 or 6 restaurants that like I actually did like and like maybe one mall with like 3 stores in it, but there's like not a lot to do. So it was way more like creating things with your friends to do. Also, the scenery is like amazing. So if you're like a nature person, you should go with the nature, but I'm not a nature person, so I didn't do that.
Awesome, awesome. Like I've always like wanted to go like up north, like northeast, because like it's just, back home, kind of thing. And I totally like resonate with your point of like needing to do things like outside of like your I guess you could say like studies, like your major. But I want to do like dance in college or some type of extracurricular, like do that as well. Cause I feel like it really gives you like a break and kind of rest your mind. And like you said, you can go back with even more passion. So that is so cool.
And then I had a quick question. So I know you were answering Avani's question about, her question about like how you got inspired by Elon Musk's idea. And so I'm not very familiar with Elon Musk's, like, what was it called? Like, it started with an
Hyperloop.
H. Yeah, I was wondering if you could explain that. I've never heard of it. And so,
Sure.
yeah, thank you.
So, I mean, I think the motivation for the idea, I forget what it was, but I think that it was like some kind of like I think the California government was planning on building like a really, some like sort of new transit system, and he didn't want that to happen. And so he came up with this idea. I don't remember the details. But Hyperloop is basically supposed to be like a revolutionary form of transportation. The idea is you sort of like dig giant tunnels underneath the ground and you vacuum seal those tunnels. A lot of like the limitations of obviously speed is like air drag, like friction in the air. When you're like driving through it. I mean, not for like cars, but like for F1 cars, yeah, but like not for like regular cars, I would guess, because like you're not supposed to go that fast anyway. But like whatever. The point is that you have this vacuum sealed tube, and then the absence of like that like air friction makes it so that you can go faster. So what you do is you have like a giant pod in that tube, and then what's your other source of friction is the ground and the wheels that you're rolling on. And obviously you need friction to be able to propel yourself in when you're on the ground. But the idea with Hyperloop is that instead of using wheels, you magnetically propel yourself. So they have like a an I-beam, or just like a beam that you can like sort of magnetize with a induction motor. I'm sorry, I'm going like too much into the weeds. I'm trying to figure out how to like step back. So basically, yeah, you have like a track that you can magnetize with magnetic systems on your pod. And so basically you levitate off that track and you're able to propel yourself off that track with magnetic systems, both on the pod or on the track, or just on the pod or just on the track, I suppose. You can sort of design anything. I mean, we were doing just on the pod, not on the track. That's what like most students in college do for like competitions and stuff. And yeah, so yeah, sorry, that was like a really long answer, but that's basically the idea, like magnetic repulsion and levitation through like a vacuum sealed tube to increase speed. So like his whole, like, I think his whole concept was like he was going to put in like LA to New York pipelines and stuff, but don't take my word on it because I don't quite remember.
Wow, that is so interesting. And yes, I know science, sometimes it's very hard to like explain it to others, but I think you did a great job. So it's really interesting how they're trying to, increase the speed of travel and stuff. I think that'll be very helpful, and I'm excited. So thank you
Also,
for
the science
enlightening me.
movie idea, I love it.
Yeah, and another question I had was, what is the most significant lesson you've learned from a failure during your STEM journey?
I think the biggest thing I've ever learned has been not to pretend that you don't have questions when you're going through like your work. I mean, I've had like, especially I think in the beginning of college, it tends to be very intimidating when you're going into like a designing team or like an internship. You don't want to show people that you might not know exactly what you're doing, and you don't want to show people that you don't know what's going on, which for me was both things many, many times. But at the end of the day, you're not going to learn if you don't take sort of like the confidence and the courage in yourself to tell people like, hey, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Explain what you're talking about to me. I don't know how to approach this. Can you show me a way that I can approach this? At the beginning of your career, you're just not going to know. Like taking classes isn't enough, and you're not going to know how to do engineering until you do it. But just being handed a problem isn't enough. You do need some guidance to start off with. I mean, at least I did. And I think the biggest thing was like learning to be open with asking questions, and like not have that like internal thing of like, oh, maybe they're gonna think that I'm stupid. Like you probably should just ask the question.
That is excellent. Thank you so much for saying that because, I feel like nowadays people don't take that much value in asking questions, and definitely being inquisitive is very important in STEM careers, especially in engineering and pretty much wherever you go. So that was great. Thank you.
Yes, and just like Avani said, oh my gosh, that is so true, rings so true to my life as well. Because like especially in class, like all those like judgy people, they're like, why are you asking that question? But at the end of the day, you're the one who's like responsible for your learning journey. And if you don't ask the question, like you said, you can't learn. So honestly, that is so true. And I should just not listen to other people's opinions in that, because then they won't be learning either. So I'll definitely try to get the confidence to ask more questions when I go back to school on Monday. My last question was, what motivated you to choose engineering as like your major? What kind of drew you to that rather than any other STEM careers? And what's your favorite part about engineering in general?
Yeah, I mean, I was in high school, like ninth grade. I mean, like getting out of middle school, I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna pursue medicine, like I'm gonna be a doctor, like this is what I want. And so I was like super into that. I took like bio and chem in like ninth grade, and then I was like ready to take like human anatomy and physiology in like 10th grade. And I was like, Mom, like this is what I want. And my mom was like, absolutely not. You need to take one physics course before you graduate high school and then do whatever you want, but you have to take one physics course. That's important for life. And I was like, why? Like, I want to take human anatomy and physiology. And she was like, no, like me and your uncle have talked about it. And you have to take at least one physics course before you graduate high school. And I was like, I mean, okay, like fine, if you want me to, like whatever. And it's not like I didn't have to take it eventually. I just hadn't wanted to taken it that year. I wanted to take HAP, but my mom was like, no, like you have to take physics. And I took physics and I was like, wow, I am so not going to be a doctor because I just like really, really enjoyed my physics courses. I enjoyed the type of learning that it provided. I mean, I think medicine is awesome, like everybody pursues it awesome, but I really clicked with physics and the kind of problem solving it was. I'm also just like not a memorization person. I think that like knowing different terminology and like knowing the names of everything, that's like so not what I'm capable of doing. I really feel like I'm only capable of like understanding something or understanding the math behind something, understanding why something moves or why something does something and figuring that out with like math. But like remembering the words for everything would have actually like killed me. So I'm really glad I didn't pursue bio because I don't think that I could have done it. So I was pursuing physics and I thought I was going to be like a theoretical physics major, maybe particle physics in college because I really wanted to go the theory route. And then my dad made me watch Iron Man, and then I was like, never mind, I'm gonna do mechanical engineering. And so Tony Stark is the reason I picked mechanical engineering, which is kind of an idiotic reason to pick it. But yeah, that's sort of why I picked mechanical engineering, and it just stuck and it really worked out for me. So I'm really glad my mom made me take physics and my dad made me watch Iron Man. So I guess I pursued it because of my parents.
Hey, honestly, those are two great reasons as well. Iron Man is the best. Tony Stark. But I also think that that rings true with like the whole you need to explore different types of subjects because like if you don't take like physics a certain year, then you might not know whether you like something, or if you don't take like say bio and maybe you really like bio, then you won't know if you like that either. For me
Yeah.
personally, I was really scared of taking chemistry, but then I took it last year and I was like, oh my gosh, I actually really like this. So that rings true to me as well. And maybe I'll watch Iron Man and maybe go into engineering. Who knows?
I highly recommend it. It's a good major. I mean, personally, I've been very lucky. I've been given really great opportunities. I mean, it is a huge motivator to go to work at Tesla or SpaceX and sort of like, at the entrances they have like pictures of the cars or like, like the engine like sitting in the front office. And I think it's just like hugely motivating to, like study really hard and then get opportunities that you want and then get to contribute to these like huge things that are bigger than yourself. I mean, when I interned at Tesla, I was working on like from the Model S, Model 3, Model Y. Like I was working on models. I worked on Cybertruck. So I had parts on all these cars, and that was hugely motivating because you're thinking about it and you're like, yeah, like my parts are going to production. They're producing like thousands of these like a year, for the cars, and that was a huge motivator. And now like I get to go to work at SpaceX, and I walk in, and there are these like huge rockets just like standing in the middle of like the factory, and like it's just like the work is very exciting. And then I mean, obviously a day-to-day motivation is just like I said, like what you're contributing to is like bigger than yourself, and that's like a huge thing for me.
Right, like being at the cutting edge of like technology, especially Tesla. Like, oh my gosh, I swear, like that is like the it car around here. I just love Tesla, like the mission behind it as well. Like, the sky is not the limit, space is. This is like a random small question, but if you could go to space, would you?
No, I would never do that. um I am like really scared of I like love the idea of like sending people like you do you like go wherever you want. I think it's like great, like we should like explore space. It shouldn't be me though, no. My like, well, for one thing, I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard, but Starliner, which is like a Boeing thing, they sort of have like astronauts stranded in space right now.
Ah, uh-huh.
And they're having some sort of technical difficulties. I haven't had much chance to check the news, so I don't know exactly what it is, but the idea of that happening to me is like the most terrifying thing I can possibly imagine. And also like, I don't know if you guys like watched the Magic School Bus when you were kids, but there's this like one episode where like Arnold or like one of them like gets lost in space or something. or
Yes.
something like that. I like forget exactly what happened, but honestly, that like really instilled a fear in me at like 7 years old. So it's like now it's like I like could not possibly go to space.
I don't
Oh.
because it's scary. Millions and millions of miles of just black expanse.
I
But
think it's like also like if you watch Interstellar and you still want to go to space after that, I'm like, what's wrong with you? But I mean, some people are more courageous than I am.
I have one special question to ask you. It's my last question. I think all of our last questions. But if you could collaborate with any scientist, innovator, or engineer, past or present, who would it be and what would you want to work on together?
I don't have like a person that I want to work with so much as like a place that I want to work at.
Oh,
Um, but a big dream of mine has to like one day, maybe for a PhD or something, is to go to the MIT Media Lab. I just like I toured once there in high school for a summer program that I did, and the lab kind of, or at least the way they talked about it to us when we were touring then for the summer program is their whole philosophy is just kind of like exploring things and doing research just for fun. So you don't have to have an industry purpose. You don't like not necessarily like you can, but they don't necessarily just do things so that they can get marketed in an industry or do something specific. They just like do research because they want to learn about something new. Oh, like it's my dream to work there. I would love like I think that like it's really important to create stuff that like is going to help the real world and that's going to create something, but also some of like the greatest innovations have come from just like messing around and finding out like just like you did something and then oh my God, like oh I didn't know that I could use it this way. So I would love to work in an environment like that. I mean, personally, I'm really passionate about like bipedal robot development. So if I ever have to do anything, I would love to work in bipedal robot development, like the dynamics and controls and stuff. So that's like the project that I would want to work on, and that's the place that I would want to work on. But I don't have a person that I specifically want to work with. I think the people that you should work with come naturally to you in your life in some way.
right. That's very nice. That's very interesting to hear. I didn't know about, did you call it bipedal robots?
Yes, biped robots. It's just like walking robots, like on two
Ah,
legs.
you
that's
should
so cool. Yeah.
2.0.
Cool. Well, I guess does anyone have any questions? You've answered all of my questions, so thank you.
Yes,
Same.
I would say you answered all my questions too, and thank you so much for being on here, giving us your time, and giving us a very entertaining and informative talk.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to answer some of your questions. I'm sure you guys are all headed on to do like really awesome things.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and yeah, bye.
Bye.
Yes, thank you.
Bye. Thank you.